What time is it? Podcast time. It's a celebration. What time is it? Podcast time. Hello and welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa Hemming, and if a life coach and a therapist had a baby, you would give me. I am so excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here. I cannot believe that we are almost through with the third season of the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. I can't even believe that. For so long, I dreamed of this, and then here we are. Like, you just start something, and then here you are. I don't know. It boggles my mind where this life has led me, and I'm just so grateful for it. And I'm super emotional today. I just went over my 12 magical wishes from last year, and if you've never done the 12 magical wishes, it's not too late to do it now. I started it when you're listening to this. It will be yesterday on the winter solstice, but you can start it today. You can start it on Christmas Day. You can start it on the New Year. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. But basically, you write yourself down 13 wishes on little pieces of paper and wishes for 2026. And then you put them in a bucket or a bowl, and every day, starting today or yesterday if you started it, or on Christmas Day, you take out one wish and you burn it. And that goes to the universe. That's the universe's job to help you accomplish that wish. And at the end of the 12 days, you'll have one wish left. And that's the wish that you are responsible for. That's your responsibility for 2026 to make that ish happen. And the rest will be the universe. And last year was the first year that I ever did it. And I just, looked over my list. Actually, I did it on the exclusive podcast content with my exclusive content peeps. And it was just really emotional to see, I've almost been through one calendar year of being single. And it's been such a wild ride this year. Excuse me. From, moving on from my marriage, from, to meeting new people and, having experiences. And, it's just been such a wild ride of life. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that you've been here. I'm grateful that my exclusive content people have been here because they have seen me through some ish. And being single is crazy. Dating is crazy. Getting divorced a second time is crazy. Parenting fucking kids is crazy. It's all crazy. And I'm here for it. I love it because we're living, right? Every single day that we get to experience this wild ride of life, we are living. And, I'm grateful for every day. Every wrinkle, every step. Oh, I'm so cheesy today. But let's talk about what's coming. So It's Your Effin' Breakthrough the Club. I think we're doing a rebrand. It's so funny. My friend Chad just joined Instagram, and he commented on my Positive Pickle reel from yesterday and said, "Do you have a club called the Positive Pickle Club?" And I was like, hold your horses. Maybe we need to call the club the Positive Pickle Club. I think he might be onto something genius. So the club is always open for you to join. We do weekly journal prompts in there, and we do monthly group coaching, which I need to schedule for this month. But it's a great supportive community where people can sort of jump in as they need to work on their mental health. And, I was sharing in my stories this week that I have this philosophy, if you will, of, when I say to my clients in a therapy session or a life coaching session, I say, how is your self-care? And what I mean by that, when I ask, how is your self-care? I mean mental health. How are you focusing on your feelings? How are you facing what you're feeling? How are you processing? How is your insight into your behavior, your reactions, your responses? If we're not taking the time to actually work through these things, like it's like, when I'm working with like a couple, let's say, or not, let's not say a couple. Let's say I'm working with a person who is in a relationship and they have an issue with something in the relationship, and the other partner says that they're going to work on it. I always ask, like, how are they going to work on it? Like, you don't just like say, like, let's say anger management. Like, you don't just say, I'm working on anger management, and then do nothing to help yourself. Like, you have to work with someone, like a professional, or, maybe you could try getting like an anger management workbook or reading a book, but like it takes actual effort. So, you can't just be working on something without actually working on it. So how is your self-care when it comes to those things, when it comes to your mental health? Have you had an appointment with your therapist? I had one yesterday. Have you had an appointment with your coach? Have you journaled? Have you meditated? What have you done to help yourself cope with the feelings that you're having? And then there's the other bucket, which is the self-care bucket of health, your body, how you feel about yourself. A lot of people go right to this one. So they'll be like, oh, I had my hair cut yesterday and I did my nails. That's great. And I love that you feel good about yourself when you do those things, or that you're taking the time to feel good about yourself. But that's not self-care in the way that I'm talking about mental health self-care. There is absolutely a place for feeling good and choosing yourself and making the time for yourself. But what I mean is, are you fucking journaling when you're getting your feet done? Because that's important too. So, and that other things that can fit into that physical health bucket is making an appointment at your doctor. I have on my to-do list that I have to make an appointment at my dentist, and I have to make an appointment with my dermatologist for a skin check. So what appointments do you have to make? How can you take better care of yourself? Marathon training, massage is another thing that can go in that bucket, because it's important to take care of your body. And then the other bucket is joy and play. Adults do not play enough, and we have to take a lesson from kids and children in play and joy. And what do you do for yourself that is truly joyful? For me, music bingo. I can go to music bingo. It doesn't matter. Like, I can't express to you. My friends started Wild Blooms maybe 2 years ago. I can be literally like heartbroken from whatever is plaguing me on a particular day. The world, our country, my marriage falling apart, my fucking situationship abandoning me, whatever it is, I can go to music bingo. I can decide, like, I don't even have to talk very much to my friends, and I can sing my little heart out and play music bingo. It is the best thing ever for my mental health, and it is my joy 100%. So I prioritize that every single week. I'm at music bingo because it makes me happy no matter what is happening around me. So what are you doing that's joyful? What are you doing? For me, also paddleboarding when it's not, negative 12 degrees. What do you do that is purely for joy and not to check a box and not, I know a lot of people say physical health is their joy. And to some extent, like, it does help my mental health so much, but it's not joy. It's not joy unless you're, I don't know. I'm not going to put a label on your own joy. You have to figure that out for yourself. But what helps you just disconnect and feel joy, feel playful. So I wanted to talk about therapy. And also, okay, so the club is open. So, and the club is really where you can focus on these things. So that's what I always say. Like, if you're like, I don't know how to start taking care of my mental health, I don't know if I can commit to starting with a therapist. And what I want to share with you too is, you don't have to go to therapy weekly. I have been making sure that whenever I finish a therapy appointment, I schedule one immediately, and I'm doing monthly right now. That is perfect for me to have the accountability, to have the check-ins, and to be just checking in with myself and how I'm feeling and what I need. You may need more than that. You may need less than that. You may not know where to begin. And the club would be a great place for you to start, because we start talking about these concepts of journaling and meditation and paying attention to the boundaries that you set and the communication that you have and how you speak to yourself and what thoughts that you have. And even if you're not like ready per se to start journaling, or you feel like maybe I don't have the time, or life's too crazy, or I don't know how to add anything else into my schedule, you can literally read their journal prompts. And even reading, like when I say baby steps, guys, baby steps are so important and crucial to your growth in any area. I think sometimes we set a goal, and then we set the first step in it so large that it just feels so big we can't ever take it. Break it down. Break your goals down so fucking tiny that you get that little adrenaline boost from doing the first step, making the phone call, taking a fucking 1/10 of a mile walk, joining the club and reading a journal prompt instead of writing it down. I'll even go so far as like writing it in your phone, because to me, a journal is pen and paper. That's where the magic is. Writing it in your phone, in your notes app, speaking it out, like baby steps, right? A great baby step is a gratitude practice. But the point is that baby steps, and I think the club is a great baby step, because it brings you into what group coaching looks like, and supporting other women, and also having the accountability. And the accountability I love, because you can use it for whatever you need it for. You know, it's like our online gym that we use for workouts. These women help me to press play on my own workouts because they are there working out and I am watching them do that. It really helps to be surrounding yourself with people who have similar goals to yours. And in the club, we're all working on ourselves. And I also love it because it's really low level, right? Like our fitness group, for instance, right now is off the charts. 3 weeks long. This is the 3rd week. Everyone's excited. Everyone's energetic. And we are thriving on everyone's participation. That's not what the club is like. So if you're sort of worried, like I won't be able to keep up, or I'm not going to be the kind of challenger, because if you're used to like challenge groups and that mentality, I'm not going to be the best challenger. That we don't have any of that in the club. It is literally you comment if you feel like commenting, you reach out for support if you need to reach out for support. And otherwise, we're just all going to do our thing and go through our lives. And I love that because there's no pressure in any way. Also, I have one-on-one sessions open for January. I have a couple different options in terms of whatever you're looking for. And I am also going to open, not right now, but in January, some run walk sessions too. If that is interesting, if that interests you. I know some people specifically reach out about them and I don't always have them available, but I am going to open up some spots in January. So stay on the lookout. All the links are in the bio. My fundraising link for Tokyo, one-on-one spots, the club, exclusive content, my Shaklee links, my drug drinks, everything you could possibly need is in the show notes. So just check that out if you need to. Okay, so I wanted to start talking about this situation in therapy that I love this so much. I love when I first start working with someone and like we start like putting things into place in terms of boundaries and how they're showing up. And I started working with this individual, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. And what has happened is that he has recognized really dysfunctional patterns in his family. And because he has started to recognize these patterns in his family, is now needing to put up a lot of boundaries in place in terms of his interactions with his family. And what's really interesting is when he started, he thought everything was a him problem. And sometimes it takes a little while when you start working with someone to figure out like exactly what is happening here. And that's exactly what happened with working with him. It was sort of like discovering, and this is why therapy is so fascinating to me, because and even when people are not honest, whether or not they have the insight to be honest, or they're just not sort of disclosing everything that they can disclose. And that's sort of what happened here too, is more and more things started coming out. And I was like, okay, we are dealing with a lot more here than I ever thought we were. And but what's happening now is that the family, because of the boundaries that he's setting, is having a really hard time. They want to attend his therapy sessions. And he's like, you're not attending my therapy sessions. And they are having a problem with the boundaries that he's setting because of the information that he's gaining from this clarity of him being in therapy. And this is why I love my job so much, because first of all, you never know what's around every corner. Second of all, there's shit around everyone's corner. So like, you know, when we talk about like skeletons being in the closet, everybody has them. Everybody has so many of the same negative thoughts and beliefs about themselves. Everybody has boundaries that they need to establish within their relationships that they have, whether that's with people or work or their romantic relationships. Like, everyone experiences so many of the same things, but what's so crazy is that everybody feels alone. And so this has been a really big eye-opener for him, because we've had to talk a lot about when you do start setting boundaries, it is going to be really hard for the people that you've never had boundaries with. And what's really interesting about this particular person is that a lot of the people in their orbit feel really comfortable sharing how they feel about the decisions that this person makes. And what's wild is that, and it's not even just, it's extended family, it's immediate family, it's the mom of the girlfriend. Like, it's a lot more people than you would ever expect, that they are having to now be like, no, I'm not accepting this any longer. And so we had a talk this week about how to baby step these boundaries, because it's a lot. It's a lot of people. And so I wanted to share this because I know a lot of people out there, maybe you're in your own sort of dysfunctional family like this, or maybe you have fallen into patterns of people sharing beliefs or sharing input about your life. And so we talked about different ways how this can look for him, and whether it's a situation they walk away from, if they have to walk away from, you know, if it's in someone's home and they're feeling uncomfortable, whether they just say, you know, I am comfortable finding my own path right now, or I do not want input anymore. There's so many different ways that you can set a boundary that doesn't have to be aggressive. Remember, it should never be aggressive. It should always be assertive. But I also think it's important to know that whenever you set one, or whatever you say to someone, you cannot control their response. Chances are they're not going to like it, especially if it shifts the dynamic of the relationship. And also, it's hard to do. So you want to baby step this too. What can be the best outcome in this scenario for you, while also changing the dynamic of the relationship? Because what's happening for this person is that they're getting really annoyed at these relationships in their life, and that resentment is going to build. It's going to build, and it's either going to explode, as it already has sometimes, or you're just going to be all set with the relationship. So if the relationship, excuse me, if the relationship is valuable to you, which it is to this person, how can you make it a better relationship for you? And what happens, and what has happened for this person is that the people in their life have been allowed to create this dynamic. They've been allowed to share their input. They've been allowed to share their feelings. And it's now needed where the person, my client, has to say, hold up, I don't need this anymore. And I'm no longer accepting this. And if you can't respect my boundary, I have to spend less time with you. And boundaries don't have to be forever. And they don't have to be, as I said, aggressive. They should never be aggressive. But still, the person may not like it. So, and that's where you have to let, and this is going to be an ongoing thing with working with this person, is allowing the adults in your life to have their own feelings and work through their own feelings. And I talked about this in the podcast last episode with my situation with my daughter. I am going to be an adult and manage my own feelings about shit because it matters to me. I don't want to put that on my kids. Other people may have less insight into their own behavior. They may not understand. They may take this really personally. It's still not my client's job to own that. It's not my client's job to own that at all. It's my client's job to stand up for what's right for them and let the other people deal with how they feel about it. And if it doesn't get better, that's when you say, I can't hang out, or I can only hang out for an hour, or I can hang out, but not if we're going to talk about my life in any way, and it's part of this person's job to explain to their family that they are able and capable to figure out what's right for themselves in their life without the input of these people. And this works in other different ways too, because I've worked with a lot of clients who look to other people to answer their questions. There's people that come to me that are like, what should I do about blank? And I'm like, I can't tell you that. Only you know the answer to that. And that's what I love about life, right? Like, I don't need to go to someone else to tell me what's right for me because no one else is going to ever know what the right answer is for me. They don't live in my body. They don't live in my shoes. They don't live in my house. They don't have my dogs. They don't have my kids. They don't have my mindset. So why would I ever look to someone else? You can say to someone, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Do you think I should fly out of Boston or New York or Bradley to go to Tokyo? What do you think is the best option? Doesn't mean it's the right one for me. The right one for me is Bradley in my backyard. I was just arguing about this with my friend Alexis yesterday because we're trying to finally book our Tokyo tickets, and I like to fly out of the airport that's closest to me, even if it's a little bit more travel time, even if it's a little more flight time. I would rather do that than fucking have to drive 2 hours from New York after flying from Tokyo. So that's a silly example, but even as big as, should I get out of my marriage? How could anyone else answer that for me? They're not living in my marriage. My parents, they were like, we're shocked about this separation. And I get that to some extent, because if you don't live in the household, then it may be shocking. But how could you ever tell me what to do when you've not been in my shoes? So no one else can tell you what to do. No one else should tell you what to do. And if people are in your ear, just like my client, get them the fuck out. And that's what It's Your Effing Journey is all about. It's letting yourself and trusting yourself to know the answers. And even if you don't know the answers, trusting yourself to be able to figure it out. And if you fuck it up and you fall on your face and fail all over the place, that you can get up and you can survive because you've done it 100 times. You have 100% success rate at everything in your life. Well, you have 100% success rate at surviving, and you will survive. And hopefully you will learn and you will do something better the next time. But no matter who is in your ear telling you what to do, when, who, how, what, and, or if, I don't know what that means. They don't know. Only you know. And if you don't know, the answer is not going to come from outward. It's going to come from inward. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. If you've never worked with someone in a therapeutic capacity, oh my God, chef's kiss. I don't know what's going on with my little coffee. But, I've been with my therapist. I think I had my third session with her yesterday, and I am really enjoying working with her. And it just really helps to have that time for yourself and, just to challenge yourself, to work on your shit, and to gain some insight into what you're doing in your life. It feels so good. So if you are interested in a one-on-one spot, shoot me a message or check out the link and we'll talk about the different packages and see what's best for you. Otherwise, join the club. If this episode spoke to you, take a screenshot, share it in your stories, tag me. I thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you soon. And have a great Christmas. I think this is coming out Christmas week. So Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy your family and set those boundaries. Bye.